Nobody's listening, right? Hi, Andy.
Hi.
Is anyone listening?
Yes, this one's from Tony. Yes, love the pod. Listening in Manchester, UK.
Manchester, that's... Oh, wait, I'm going into a Boston accent. Hang on. I have a pretty good Boston accent, but Manchester, that's where they have the athletic club, the Manchester UK United.
I'm really sorry, Tony. That's so offensive. So Tony arrived via St. Monica. I've had to perfect the art of listening without making the bed shake as I laugh late at night. Never stop XX. I think that means kisses.
Oh, that's so delightful.
Again, I apologize. That's horrendous.
That's really nice. Oh, thanks, Tony.
I want to just remind everybody that our sick merch is out and available at nobodieslisteninright.com. Get one of these sweatshirts. The tees are looking good. I wore my hat all weekend long.
Yes, and also if you want to support the show, you can go to patreon.com/nobodieslisteninright. We're going to have our holiday happy hour coming up this Saturday, the 9th. Is that right?
Sounds right.
At 4:30.
PST, Pacific Standard Time.
Yeah, there's more information at... Double check that timing on Patreon. I can't wait to get boozy with all of these nobodies and somebodies.
I wonder what time that would be if, say, someone like Tony from Manchester got there.
Well,
it'd be fun if there was a Brit in the mix.
It would be fun.
So if you're a Brit, get in the mix.
You get me a little tipsy, and we'll play the game of you give me whatever accent to say.
No.
Do it.
I'll start really easy.
Okay.
Do like someone from Thailand, I guess. I actually don't know what the Thailand accent is.
I feel that we're getting into like real, you just sent me right into the fire pit. I'll do like a Boston. Or South or Southern.
Okay, do Boston, but someone, let's see, that moved to Boston from, like,
This is not fair. You're going to say South Africa.
Ooh, that's good. So how about someone whose family was born in Nigeria, but they were born in Boston?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so the other day, I went and got my cat fixed over at the cat place. And my kid, he's going to Harvard.
Oh, that's pretty spot on. You know what's funny? I just realized, over the years, I like to say Boston Marathon. Like I'm running the Boston Marathon. That comes from a teacher you might have had also. In middle school, at our school, I guess we were still separated into boys and girls back then.
Can I ask who it was? Is it Mr. Neiman?
Well, he had a very strong accent. Who was Mr. Newman?
He's the one. Oh, this is really fun. Do you remember I think he was a math teacher. I don't remember.
The guy that did the Malts?
He did the Malts.
Jesus Christ. So, okay, stop. Stop. One, yes, we had a very magical science teacher that at the end of the year would have a big party and you would get malts, and all year he would use them as an incentive to like earn malts.
Your name would be up on the board. Every kid's name was up on the board, and he would put numbers next to your name. So depending on how you're like doing throughout, I don't think it was always positive reinforcement. I don't think he was deducting malts or anything, but there was a thing, and it was like, how many malts are you going to get? What's hilarious, obviously, is you can only have so many malts.
Right.
Meaning he would make a huge vat of like a malted milkshake. Malted,
kind of
gross.
It's
gross
kind
now.
of gross, yeah.
But you can have 2 malts at max, probably.
Right. It's like the whole you can't drink more than a gallon of milk, right?
But some of us would have like in the hundreds by the time we got to the party. Hundreds of malts coming our way.
Right, but you didn't drink 100.
Right.
But why I'm really annoyed with you is that like picture that man in your head.
Oh, I love him. I think he passed recently or something.
Okay, R.I.P. Now imagine...
He made learning fun.
Yeah, he did. Now imagine this teacher that you loved so much that made learning fun, that you can't remember what subject he taught. Imagine his voice. Did he have a Boston accent?
I really just remember vibes.
Jesus. No, anyways, it wasn't
There was
him.
so much going on with all those teachers. You know, some of them were having affairs and stuff.
Some were fucking not the teachers. Some were fucking teachers. Some were fucking the students.
Well, that's a big allegation, but I will
It's true.
say,
Look it up. Look it up.
Wait, hang on. Actually, Andy,
Yeah.
is that true? You can look it up?
I don't know about this. The one that you're talking about that I know happened
Are you
in
talking
your
about the
era.
athlete?
Yeah.
There was an athlete. There is definitely something going on there. Not great. But the thing I was thinking about was,
I don't want it to come across that I was making light of
No.
the coach having sex with the student.
no, I don't think all of us, I think, are on the same page. That's bad. That's very bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I did go into it with a bit of a joking spirit. I'm admitting that, but I don't mean it like that.
Of course not. It's more about, this is, you know what? Now you're having the thing. You called me out the other week for smiling while talking about something horrible.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about that because I do that all the time. And with you, it's okay because you know kind of my heart and stuff. But I think out in the world, sometimes it's probably not good, if I have a hint of a smile or something when someone's talking about something. The smile, I think, is covering up like how absurd life is and like these bad things. It's almost like, and I think that's what you were just doing with the teacher coach student situation is we know it's so bad and it is scandalous and like that. I don't think now we're getting too into the weeds, but anyway, yeah, I get it is what I'm trying to say.
Did you know that the French president, she was his teacher? Isn't that right?
Well, so
and she's
we
much
know-
older woman.
We know a few people. You have a good friend who's now married to one of your
That's
teachers.
right, happily.
Happily.
Well, I don't know. Last time I heard happily.
Now, there's a big difference, obviously, between this happened for a few people I know who, the high school teachers were younger. Later, no, I'm about to say there's
gotta get out of here.
No. Hang on. No. Let me. If we get out now, it looks bad. I'm trying to make a point. There's a big difference between people who end up with teachers because there was some sort of romantic connection back when they were
because there was some
children.
sort of vibe.
Vibe meaning to me that's like really obviously we've all established it's inappropriate and bad. And if anything happened, that's like statutory stuff and assaulty and yucky. Versus you running into your cute, econ teacher later on.
I'm listening.
And out and being like, oh, I never saw them in this light. Like, wow, they're just a person and that's fun. And how fun is it?
So you're saying if there's like, it's after you've graduated and
you're
stuff.
a full-blown adult and you can make decisions for yourself in that world. And so anyway, we have a few people that we know who have ended up with teachers they had in high school. Now, also very different is, in school though, there were like some teachers who were having affairs and they were not hiding. I mean, it's so yucky because I feel like our class was kind of in on it for them and even part of it.
Ew.
Where we, like, they'd be all flirty and flirting in front of us.
Mr. Sampson, no one's in the photo lab right now. Why don't you go see what Miss Woods is up to?
It wasn't like that. It was more like us witnessing them kind of towing the line and being kind of over the line and flirty.
And were these people married also?
Yes, was part of the game for them. Like, I think it's part of what was titillating.
It's titillating for me right now to
Well,
imagine these teachers sneaking around somewhere where it's so hard to sneak because there's so many people that could see you. But they're all just dumb kids.
Yeah, and I want to take this time, Yes, that's exactly my point.
This
I'm about to get into some dark territory. Do you want me to do it in an accent?
I guess.
No, I'm not going to.
No, do it.
Who was the teacher who had the Boston accent?
That's what I was trying to find out from you. He was a taller guy, very blocky head. I think he played ultimate frisbee. I think he was in math.
Okay. I don't have that information.
Okay.
So there was a teacher that you had. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to do this in an accent. This is gross. And this is to say that trust your instincts, okay? Now our generation is learning to teach our kids about like, it's not like you have to always be respectful and nice to adults, always give hugs, all that stuff. Trust your instincts. You had a teacher.
Oh, I had a teacher. Yeah, that almost was probably grooming me. Yeah.
Grooming you.
Yeah, he later went to prison. I'm just getting through it real quick.
Now, is he the same teacher who invited you over to his hot tub and stuff? Is that the same guy? Or were they two different teachers? Okay. Which teacher took you to a concert?
The one that's in prison, yeah. Took me to an REM concert on a school night in like 4 hours away.
And nothing happened.
No, because Betsy was there, thank God.
Thank God.
It was a great concert, too.
I mean, what a mitzvah.
No, this is what... I'm sure I've told this, but this is what I'll say. This is like the most damning evidence of being groomed. He was the teacher that like we went maybe junior or sophomore year. We went to Ashland, Oregon there's a Shakespeare festival there. It's like a very famous Shakespeare festival.
Say Shakespeare.
Shakespeare.
Okay, great. That was like New Zealand.
Yes. And did you know that's where he's from? He's not British.
This teacher?
Shakespeare.
Oh, that's not true.
Okay, so
he's not from New Zealand.
Yes, he is.
Shakespeare?
Look it up. So
Billy?
So this teacher, the one that's now in prison, he would take me in the school van to smoke cigarettes.
And didn't he come in to like? You guys are all staying at a hotel or something?
We were staying at like a house or something.
Cool.
Like everybody was like sleeping
all,
on the floors in like one room.
Weird.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, listen. This
was before the trip. This was at school. Hey, if there's anyone that smokes, come talk to me.
Oh my God. This is so fucked up. Like, I almost feel like I'm giving kids don't smoke anymore. So, but it's like giving a hint to pedophiles of how to behave. Hey guys, like, I don't want you going through nicotine withdrawal. We're going to be out there. You're not going to have opportunities to smoke like you would at home.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it almost like it's a medical thing he's bringing to the table.
I mean, I was smoking a couple packs a day. It's a nice gesture.
William Shakespeare is from England, you fuck. But so this guy, now I want to ask you something. Mm-hmm. So you go out in his van and drive around and smoke and nothing he never hurt you.
It was just smoking cigarettes, yeah.
When did you reflect upon that and go, this is weird?
When I heard he went to prison for
hurting children.
Yeah.
Really?
Pretty obvious time to reflect on it.
Well, no, I know, but not before that. The reason I'm asking is that was probably like 10 years ago.
At this point, probably 20 years ago.
Well, no, because we had been together for a while. I think you had told me about this guy before that. And upon reflecting on it, going, that's weird.
That's
as
possible.
An adult.
And I don't have the timeline.
And then you got the news that affirmed what you thought might have been going on.
I don't know if that's the right series of events, but yeah.
Okay. And then another teacher invited you to his hot tub?
That one's different because that was a neighbor of mine, and so I would like house sit his house, but yeah, maybe a little inappropriate. Yes. This is, yeah.
It makes me want to homeschool our kids, but this stuff can't fly anymore. They can't be.
I don't think I would allow our children in high school to go to another teacher's house to hot tub with them. No.
Or to an REM concert. Here's a good thing. So we took this kind of like little lesson from.
Maybe not REM. It depends on the artist.
Okay. one thing for just parents to know, because I think that the way our parents parented, I've mentioned that I went to like Chinatown with who ran Fudge Alley, which was this like fudge and hot dog place next to my dance studio. My mom would just like have us hang out at Fudge Alley. And the owner, who I'm sure was a lovely man, nothing ever happened. So I hate, you know what, let's bleep out his name.
Are we beeping out Fudge Alley?
No.
Okay.
So, but anyway, like my mom, one day he wanted to show me like real Chinese culture, and he took me to Chinatown. I don't remember if my sister went also. Nothing happened, but if there's a teacher or an adult in your child's life who shows like great enthusiasm about your kid, this is what we were taught. Your kid's not that special. It's true.
Right. No,
like
right.
if there's a music teacher who's like, I want to take them to Walt Disney Hall to hear a symphony by myself. Like
right.
I'll just take
That's
them.
a red
You're not
flag.
coming.
That's a red flag.
Big red flag.
Yeah.
So like I want to take this kid to an REM concert. Can you imagine being like our age and let's say we're a teacher or something and be like, I want to take this kid to an REM concert?
Well,
there's no world. No world.
Well, it's just like, what a fucking loser, right?
Well, and we've established that on so many levels that was true. But also, his intentions, it wasn't because he was lonely. This is what I'm saying. I don't think anyone, for any real reason, is going, I want to take this kid to an REM concert.
I do think that there was some sort of, I can't remember the exact circumstances, except it came up in a class. And it was almost like me and Betsy got picked in the class, which was weird too.
I feel like he was grooming you, though. I mean, I think he was like, you, the smoker.
Let me tell you one other like really weird, like visceral memory I have of this guy.
Ew.
I can remember going into the bathroom, okay? And I remember what bathroom it was at school, and I remember him coming out, and like, it's so rare that you see the person responsible for the horrendous crap smell in a bathroom.
Ew.
And also you're also like, if you know someone's pooping, like you're trying to breathe through your mouth, or you know what I mean? It's like you avoid it at all costs, right?
Which, just so you know, you shouldn't breathe through your mouth. Yes, you might not smell it, but your nose has nose hairs and filtration of the poop particles. You don't want to breathe through your mouth and get that poop in your mouth, just so you know. Go ahead.
God damn it. Okay.
Okay.
Anyways, it was one of the first times and my strongest memory of like, oh, horrible smell that came from this teacher.
Ew.
And I'd never experienced that before, let alone with like a teacher.
What
and
a
it really made me, it grossed me out so much.
What a monster all around.
Why are you laughing?
Because
let's move on.
wait, hang on. I appreciate that. I think many schools now have separate bathrooms for kids and adults.
That's true. Yeah. That's
Yes.
an easy fix.
Easy fix. Where was that?
Jesus Christ.
Oh, no, now I have the giggles.
Okay, you want to know what's so weird? I want a note that I jotted down just says, how much grooming do you think I could you handle?
Oh.
But it's not that kind of grooming. Isn't that weird?
That is really dark.
Yes.
And it's, I think you were groomed by this guy. Thank God, for whatever reason, thanks to Betsy or whatever, someone requires alone time and trust to
yeah.
hurt a kid. And so that's another good thing to know. But obviously, I was groomed by that voiceover coach, which people can listen to the episode on Patreon. There, I think it's
What a weird plug.
No, I'm not plugging. I'm just
Sorry, you know what I mean. This just went off. This went into the weird.
No,
weeds.
if anyone really wants to hear this, it's on patreon.com/nobody's listening right. There you can search Peter Rofe is this guy's name.
Yeah.
And I've publicly talked about this and there are articles about this, but you know, it's so insidious grooming. And it's not even a like, how much do you think you could take until you break? I know that's not what your note meant.
No, I know. Yeah.
But it's almost like, yeah, I don't know. I can't even get into it. It's such a mind fuck what these people do. And I'm sorry that to you, I was like, it wasn't until he was arrested. I just, in my mind, thought we had that conversation.
And we might have. I'm just saying I don't know.
But for me, it truly was not until Me Too happened. And I posted about this guy because I had this like icky feeling.
Yeah.
But I really didn't. Where I ended up basically with this guy, the broad strokes of the story are he was a voiceover coach in New York. I went to him for lessons for months and months. He was grooming me from day one.
Yeah.
And then ultimately got me into a very scary situation where this is where it sounds crazy, but he convinced me to take my top and bra off.
Right, to like get into character.
For the art, which I
Right.
know sounds crazy, but this was having been set up for months and months. Like, I had to let go. I was in this booth. He was like, I'm not looking. The lights are off. It's more for you to... So stupid. Because voiceover acting is real acting. Now, there's some truth to that. But that's what...
No, I'm sorry. You're just like, you're in your uncomfortableness. You're almost giving me the giggles because you're smiling and it's horrendous story you're telling.
Well, whatever. He ended up coming into the booth totally naked and it was horrible. And I got out of there.
Yeah.
And even after I got out of there, I was like trying to make it okay. And I was like, and you and I were newly dating.
Yeah, and I feel like you told me and I didn't have the best reaction
well, of
either.
course not,
and
because you hear, whatever.
Totally.
But I was like, okay. I was acting like everything was normal.
Yeah.
And then I left and then I told you, and you were understandably upset that I had like taken off my top had my...
Yeah. Not understanding at the time.
Neither of us were. How could we?
Right.
So whatever. We moved past that. I ended up calling him, I think, before my next lesson and being like, I think that was really inappropriate. And like, but also taking some of the blame and being like, I don't know if I gave off signals or whatever. And he was in a session when I called and he kind of wanted just to get off the phone quickly.
Yeah.
So he's like, you're right. So when I posted about that, when the whole Me Too thing happened, I was thinking just like, that wasn't appropriate. And he was the teacher, and I had higher expectations of him, especially because part of the grooming was him talking a lot about he had a new baby daughter and how much he loved his wife and had pictures of them up and like seemed like this really morally intact family man.
Yeah.
Well, come to find out, many, many other women had the exact same experience and were assaulted or raped, like after months of grooming or weeks of grooming or whatever. But the grooming was exactly the same.
Yeah.
Which was like using specific voiceover copy. It's all so yucky.
It's so yucky.
And once you're in it, you cannot see out of it. Like, so that's why I think it's important as parents to know what these red flags might be. And
yeah. That reminds me of something that I don't think I've ever talked about on this show or ever before that I was thinking about recently. And you're going to be like, oh, yeah, I know why you were thinking about that. So when you went through the Me Too situation, that became a story on CNN about this voiceover coach. And there was a morning that someone from CNN interviewed me to be like asking a few questions about the whole thing.
Right.
Which was interesting and surreal.
It was almost like it's a shame that we need this, but it was almost like you were an outside voice corroborating what happened back then.
Sure. Yeah.
To be like, she at the time told me that this happened.
Yeah.
Regardless of what your reaction was.
Right. So this is just this weird setup to this totally different story. With that context, having known that I had just talked to CNN about this horrible experience that you had, I, that same morning, walked into therapy. I was seeing a therapist at the time.
Oh.
And so, therapist is checking in. How are you going? And I'm like, oh, I just had this kind of surreal thing. And I recount the whole story and what had happened, because I just had gotten off the phone. And so we were talking about all of this kind of Me Too stuff. And somehow in that moment, my therapist mentioned, like, that Trump is actually like doing a lot.
That is what got you there?
Yeah.
You're kidding.
No.
I never knew that.
Yeah. So the therapist somehow slid in that, like, Trump is actually, for how horrible Trump is, he's actually doing a lot for like sex trafficking explicitly.
Children, right. The whole like Pizzagate
and all that stuff. This is probably, I don't even know if this is pre or post Pizzagate, but around that era when Trump is president,
post, yeah,
obviously.
Yeah.
And it struck me as odd because this woman also, she'd been my therapist for maybe a year or 2 years. I really liked her. And not to paint too much of a broad stroke picture or make assumptions, but she was kind of a new agey, middle-aged woman, just not someone I would assume would, I don't know, be into Trump or it seemed odd. And then I don't know if it was that session or the following session, it somehow came up again. Oh, and she'd also forwarded me an email to like a government website of his initiatives on it.
I'm so disturbed, I have to say, that knowing this story and what's transpired, that the entry to that was you talking about your wife's experience, and like that then it turned into this whole thing and kind of touting Trump. And
I'm not sure.
It's weird. Maybe it was a windier path.
Yeah,
to get there.
I'm assuming it's a windier path, but I very remember that the catalyst being this, like, I just got off the phone with CNN.
Wow.
And but I think it is windier. Anyways, the next session, so she had sent me like the government website. And yes, it is true that Trump did have some initiatives that were maybe stricter on like trafficking and whatnot than previous administrations.
Which I think is great. We should have those.
Yeah.
But also I think it's everything he does is like fanning the flames of everything. And this is kind of at the height of Democrats are like sex crazed, like child traffickers who there's this like high end sex ring of pedophiles and also just very ironic given that Trump himself is a rapist and was at Jeffrey Epstein's island with young girls and whatever. Carry on.
So around this same time, and I mean this must have been like 2000, between 16 and 18, I'm guessing. We would sometimes talk about like music news, and Kanye was in the news for some bonkers stuff then, not the like more recent bonkers Kanye stuff.
Pre-bonkers Kanye, just the bonkers Kanye.
And somehow in that following session, we got talking about this again, and it was maybe, I might have brought up like, because she had emailed me about it, but then she went on to say, so-and-so musician. For some reason, I just don't feel like naming.
I agree.
Yeah. Had, he was about to out a lot of people about this kind of sex trafficking stuff.
Yeah. And he had passed away, and she was implying that maybe someone else had killed him.
Yes.
To avoid him outing pedophiles or something.
Correct. And that was very just interesting and weird, bizarre, but I also had a connection to this person professionally as well. So it made me, after this session, look into this whole thing. And I shit you not, the first website that pops up that I clicked on with like typing in some info is like there's literally GIFs of Hillary Clinton's face on fire and stuff. And I was
Yeah.
like, whoa, I've just landed in like a conspiracy place instantly. And so after doing a little more digging, talking to you, I can remember talking to JoJo about it, who had like a professor friend in conspiracies. This was pre what we know as QAnon, but this was all QAnon
It
stuff.
was the slippery slope to QAnon, right?
Yes. And also almost potentially predating QAnon being called QAnon, maybe. Like this was right around that whole era. And it was heartbreaking for me because I was like, I can't go see this therapist.
Yeah.
Also, I really liked her. And I was like, do I now discredit all the work that I thought I'd been doing on myself because of her? Because I was like, I can't get behind this. This is bonkers.
Yeah. That was really challenging because you had, I think, done a lot of great work with her
Yeah.
and had kind of processed a lot of things and come a long way.
Yeah.
My whole thing is that all still counts.
Sure. Yeah.
And you might have gotten out at exactly the right time. Like, who knows? But I have to think, just like you hear about all these people who, unfortunately, their parents or grandparents have gone into conspiracy world. They were intelligent, fully functioning. You know, she was good at her job.
Yeah. Shortly after that, or maybe not shortly after, more kind of info and articles started coming out about how QAnon had infiltrated sort of the kind of new agey, sometimes hippie-ish world of it like all made sense that like this woman could have been pulled into it because a lot of like spiritual community got roped into that.
Right.
So that also kind of gave it more context for me, which I think was helpful. But
ultimately, you have to think those people, your therapist particularly, and the weigh-in being about this like sex trafficking thing.
Yeah.
Ultimately, their hearts are in the right place. Like, no one wants sex trafficking. It's bad. It's harmful.
Well, no,
but
Pizzagate is the perfect example. That guy showed up because he legitimately thought that kids were getting abused in the basement of this pizza place.
Right.
Which is like, okay, that guy's heart's in the right spot, right?
Yeah.
But it was all based on complete
It's all
bullshit.
misinformation and it's all like, you know, people who are getting preyed upon by the misinformation machine. It's because their hearts are typically in the right place, you know, like, oh, I don't want these bad things happening. And they seem so inflated and outrageously bad that it's like, how are we not stopping this? And then, you know, but anyway, that was a rough blow.
Yeah. But that's weird that you brought that up because that got me. I was thinking about this the other day because you and I were talking about sort of mom influencers and how they can sometimes be affiliated with sort of that QAnon world as well. And oftentimes it is under the guise of the like save the children, which is obviously a thing that like, of course everyone wants to save the children.
Well, just to be clear, because we were talking about this the other night, Save the Children as an organization is
a totally legit
and,
right. But then a couple years ago, like the hashtag Save the Children got co-opted by like the right and QAnon, and it's taken on some other stuff. It's all really complicated and fascinating.
It's complicated and fascinating. I was saying to you, I wish I could find this, but there's this new initiative in California schools that California schools are now required to teach students how to recognize fake news by incorporating media literacy into lessons in English, science, math, and history throughout every grade level. This just passed on October 13th. I'm like, this is what we need. I mean, I feel like the fake news shit is going to take everything down. It's really scary.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, we don't even know what to believe. No. You pointed out recently with the war in the Middle East, like, you really have to be careful about what you're saying, what you're, check your sources is the point. And that goes for literally everyone. I mean, it's not like
we're also seeing, I mean, number one, anything that you see on social media, you need to double check, right? But we're also seeing big news organizations making the same mistakes too, right?
Right.
And yeah, so it's really hard out there in general. Just news in general is crazy.
So I'm glad our kids are at least getting some education on it and even being aware. I mean, St. Monica was saying, like, we're being fed the things that outrage us.
Oh, the algorithm. Yeah.
The algorithm is like, here's the thing. And it's so true. I mean, that's when I feel like engaged and jazzed up, like, what?
Yeah.
So anyway, Momfluencer world is it's, well, we were saying, I mean, it's insidious in some ways. It can be.
It can be. Yeah.
I also just find, so we don't have our kids on social media. I find that I think it would be so stressful if your like job and getting paid is posting stuff that makes you seem like a good mom and whatever that means. And your kids are involved. Like, I was thinking about this Thanksgiving week. I mean, I'm kind of beating myself up because I took barely any pictures and it was such an amazing week. We had so much fun, wonderful Thanksgiving. But like, all of that would have been so stressful if it's like, I got to get it for the gram,
Sure. Yeah, it would take you out of it. It's so complicated because in some ways I can see how the start of it could be very empowering, right? That this is an outlet of like, maybe let's give an example of someone that was pulled away from their career and that is become a full-time mom.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's a very good point. Like, it is a way for mothers to empower themselves, which I think, that's wonderful. Like, to find a way to make money that's yours, hopefully.
But the problem is, I think, or the obstacle a lot of these women face is in success. Most of them are making money with like brand partnerships or sponsorships and whatnot. And those bigger companies, the kind of capitalistic machine, they want a certain ideal that then all these moms have to kind of portray no matter what, right? And yeah, it just seems
and
like
I think when you see that,
hard.
You adopt that as the ideal. I mean, which it isn't necessarily.
Right.
I was saying to you the other night, I found so much comfort, and I read something about our generation of parents, as us as parents, are taught like that what you say is so important, and it is. And our parents, I feel like, didn't communicate a lot with us necessarily, and shielded us from a lot, which I, think is good or whatever. But like, there wasn't a lot of talking through feelings or like, you're feeling this now and it's because of this and whatever. There's a lot of like getting down on their level and talking through things and knowing the right thing to say at the right time. And that has stressed me out as a mom because there have been a lot of conversations where I'm like, am I fucking up? There's so much pressure on what you're saying and how to say it the right way. And this article was like, our generation has kind of, because of this pressure and focus on verbal communicating, has lost kind of what the importance of physical nurturing and just being like physically in contact with children, that like a nurturing back rub or stroke of the hair or whatever it is, which I'm like obsessive. I mean, I'm doing that constantly. I think that that's an area where I feel really like I'm really solid in physical affection with the kids. And that was a comfort to me. But I was like, it made me realize you're so kind of with social media ingrained to think there is like this ideal to achieve. And it makes you kind of forget about, if I weren't on social media as a parent, I probably wouldn't have some of the verbal communication tools I have, which is I'm glad I have them. But I also probably would have felt a little bit more competent as a parent because I'm just like, I'm doing what I do and I'm snuggling them.
Totally.
I don't know. It's interesting. Going back to, I know we've been talking a lot about cults, but just going back to like the misinformation thing and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So we watched another docuseries.
Oh, yeah. And shout out to a nobody on TikTok tagged us about it.
Okay, so it's called Mother God.
No, it's not. It's called Love Has Won or Love Always Wins.
Oh.
What is it? It's on HBO Max.
Love Has Won, I think.
Love Has Won.
WON.
Yeah.
So interesting. I mean, like, I think well done for what it is. And it's about this other cult. And, you know, spoiler alert, the leader dies, which you learn in the first few minutes of the series. So I don't think. But that kind of fucked me up more so than the Twin Flames one. And I kept saying this to you.
Yeah.
Because I think I was processing something. The Twin Flames one, the couple who are the cult leaders, and especially the guy, you see how they've preyed upon vulnerable people and groomed them in a way to mentally be ready for being brainwashed.
And you also see what they're selling, and you see why people might want to buy it, essentially.
Yes, like
literally and figuratively.
Yeah, I can see, you know, of course, watching it from the outside, it's very easy to go, that could never happen to me. But as I just mentioned with the voiceover coach, things can happen that you don't even realize are happening. But in that case, I'm like, I see their technique of brainwashing people. And I get it. And it's also, as we mentioned, kind of tale as old as time. All of the cults over all of the years have similar kind of playbooks.
Yeah.
This Love Has Won cult is really leaving me scratching my head because the leader and then like leaders do not seem like they have that it factor. Like, what they're saying doesn't sound particularly profound. I don't, in this case, and granted, we're just seeing clips of it, but like how they operate in the world. And of course, it's this woman who's claiming she is God. And I'm like, I don't know how people are buying into her being God based on how she behaves and what she's saying and stuff. And it made me freak out because I was like, God damn, like people will buy anything when they're searching for the thing.
Searching for it. Yep.
They will buy into anything. And it made me scared because, you know, I buy into all of this, like the hummingbird thing, signs from my parents, signs that there's something bigger than us. That when we die, it's not lights out, which I know for some people brings them comfort.
Right.
To me, that's like a terrifying thing to think.
Yeah.
And I really want to believe that that's not the case. And I still don't. And I did my whole podcast series, The One Sure Thing. It's still up. People can check it out. Kind of trying to search for validation to myself that there is something more. But seeing that documentary, I'm like, am I just like them?
No, because there's a huge scale, and I don't even know if you're even on the same scale, if there can be the same thing. But you're talking about these people buying into something to such an extent that they're literally throwing their entire life into flames, right? They're leaving, multiple cases, people have left their entire families, abandoned their children to go follow a woman they think is God.
I know.
Right? So it's to me, it's a completely different thing where you're just searching for, I don't know, searching for answers to some of the bigger questions that you have, but it's not affecting your, I don't know, your life, your livelihood, your family. I don't know. I think there's a big difference. Or maybe it is on a scale and what you're doing is a 2 and what they're doing is 100. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it's making me go to like, well, then believing anything that can't be proven scientifically is like, you know, crazy or something. Like it's part of this spectrum of like you're joining a cult or you just believe that this hummingbird was a gift from your parents. Like,
right.
But then I'm also thinking, well, science is ever evolving. I mean, you can't science is not like a finite, has all the answers, and it changes, and answers they thought they had, they don't. And, I don't know. But it kind of got in my head where I have felt very secure since doing the podcast, really, and feeling a connection to, I'll say, God, meaning, like spiritually, there's something bigger than us. As Eckhart Tolle says, which I love this, is all of us are so kind of ego-centered, of course, and self-centered, but we're all ripples. Here we go. Hang on. Buckle up, Andy.
I love that, like, you are a fucking big walking contradiction here. It's so funny. Like, I just love that you're pulling out Eckhart Tolle. There are people listening right now that are like, oh, she has drunk the Kool-Aid.
Sure.
Which is funny.
Right. But see, well, this is what's interesting.
Yeah.
I am going to sound like I've joined the cult of Tolle.
Yeah.
He doesn't, what he is kind of talking about out there, I'm avoiding the word preaching, is kind of take it or leave it. I'm like, if it speaks to you and makes you feel like that makes sense for you, or as it resonates and you can use it in your life, great. But if it doesn't, like, he doesn't fucking care. It's not like leave your family and I have all the answers. He doesn't. To me, that's a big difference.
Yeah, and he's not asking you to donate your life savings. He just wants you to buy, a book on your Kindle, every couple years.
Yeah.
Maybe a course here or there. He's not asking you to leave your family and that you can't trust anyone.
Go to see him speak if you're lucky enough to. It's delightful. But what I was going to say is this recently has really resonated for me. Sometimes it doesn't. But I heard it recently. I was like, oh, that makes sense to me, which is all of consciousness, meaning like God, is a big ocean. Is the ocean. It's huge.
Is the ocean or a different ocean?
Ocean. Let's just say, imagine ocean. All of consciousness is ocean, okay?
Why are you saying ocean and not the ocean?
Because it's not like
it's water,
it's the Pacific
salt water.
Sea.
It's an ocean.
It's just ocean.
Ugh,
imagine.
Gross.
Okay.
Fucking is it an article or what is it? Add a the or an and for me because I can't take just ocean.
It's the ocean. Each of us on this ocean are a little ripple of a wave. It's temporary. Our lifespan, it pops up, it comes, and then it fades away, right? We're coming from this vast consciousness as our own little thing, and when we're this little ripple, all we can tell is that we're this ripple, and all we feel like we're a ripple, but not realizing that we're just a ripple on an ocean. And so the ripple is like our own ego and the universe experiencing itself through us. So the ocean experiencing itself through this ripple. But it's just one of a gazillion trillion.
I'm on another planet right now. You lost me. I'm sorry.
So it doesn't resonate for you. So what you're saying?
I don't think how long have we been here? The last 50 minutes was the right precursor for me to get to where you are all of a sudden. And I'm actually like astonished that this is where we are right this second. A ripple on ocean?
On ocean.
A ripple on ocean.
On the ocean.
I'll
give you
No, I'll give you for a ripple on ocean. That's kind of a very cool sounding thing.
Yeah.
This could be the beginning of your cult.
Well, watching that documentary, I don't think it didn't cross my mind. Like, wow, if this lady, because watching the Twin Flames and the other ones, you're like, it has to take a certain something. But this gal seems very like approachable and like if she can do it, I can do it.
Yes, your takeaway is like, I could fucking be God if this is all it takes.
No, but she really believed she was.
I know. And we got to finish the documentary and
yeah, we have.
There's one more episode. I think it's out tonight, actually.
Okay, great.
Okay, let's end on a little bit of a lighter note, but go
Okay.
back to grooming
Yes.
of what I was actually going to talk to you about. So I have been taking minoxidil
God bless it.
because it's helping keep my hair from thinning on my head.
Yes, you have a gorgeous head of hair.
Now, I do think it's making me a little hairy everywhere.
Yes, it is.
You've noticed that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Now, I'm noticing when I get out of the shower, towel off in the shower, there's much more shedding just in general.
Yeah.
Sometimes there might be a pubic hair in there. That happens. Nobody,
Okay.
or 50. So this is my question for you, though.
It's a new bath mat.
I've noticed I don't manscape that often, okay? We're talking I'll get it'll cross my mind once every like 3 years, and then I do it and I'm like, that was a mistake, right?
You go
Too small.
too
Short is
you
the
go
word.
too ham on
Too
it.
ham. There's a lot to go ham on, I guess. But here's my question. I did manscape maybe 2 or 3 months ago, and it really makes the shower cleanup a lot less.
Great.
So the question is, how much grooming can you handle? Because it's like there's this perfect amount where, one, I don't need to be shaving off all my body hair.
No.
Because that's probably not appealing to you. Looks kind of just not right on my frame, my body,
Yeah.
my junk, if you will.
Yeah.
But there is some benefit for me doing some manscaping. So I wanted to check in with you to see what your grooming threshold would be. Because you would like to see, I'm trying to do my best of like getting rid of the hair in the tub.
Yes.
But sometimes I forget. And I know it's just, you don't need to see that.
I find it so offensive, and because it's like, it's something you don't see. We've talked about this before. I kind of am seeing everything
Sure.
around me, and you literally just, I don't know, you don't see anything sometimes. And part of the bathroom is the perfect example. You get out of the shower, you're sitting down to go to the bathroom, you're not looking over at the tub and seeing. And the thing is, all of your body hair looks like pubic hair.
It's true. It's true.
Like whatever is coming off of anywhere on your body, it looks like pubic hair to me.
Yeah.
So it looks to me like you went in there and like
Trimmed.
or
And
like
manscaped.
or like we're furiously masturbating hair all over the place, and like I don't know.
Furiously masturbating hair all over the place?
Yes.
Interesting.
Or like you're like fucking, I don't know, like going crazy. And
It happens after I towel off, just so you and everyone else knows.
okay. So I appreciate whatever you can do to keep the body hair down, minimalized in the tub. I also have noticed some of the manscaping and appreciate it when it's not too short.
This is what I'm asking.
But
What's the
skate.
length? What's the length for you?
I want it, okay, your beard, for example, right now. I don't mind it, but my favorite on you is not like a long, pretty intense beard.
Does this seem long to you?
No, this is great. This is not too short, but it's not too long.
But imagine this on other parts of my body. This might be too short.
Maybe.
Or are you saying I should try something like this?
I don't know, but don't overthink it. Here's another thing I'll say. I really don't like grooming. I find it very annoying to do. Shaving my legs feels like such a chore. And I wish I were of the generation that didn't feel like we had to shave our legs or armpits, but it's been so indoctrinated into my mind that I don't feel good if my legs and armpits aren't shaved. It's such a fucking pain in the ass. It really, really bothers me. Doing my face all the time, like, making sure my face looks fine. And all the stuff that goes into it, all the lotions and potions and everything. It's annoying. So I don't want you to get burdened with having to. And I don't really, I might trim every once in a while down there. I don't really do much else. But it's
You're dealing with a smaller forest.
much lighter forest situation.
Yeah.
You've got
You have a state and I have the entire universe.
it's almost sometimes it's like you have like pay us. Is that what it is? I'm coming down. on either side of your balls. Can I say that?
I think you can. Yeah, I think
Okay.
you can. The other problem is just like, yeah, it's like, where does it start and where does it end? That's what I got to figure out.
Because you've got like a whole football field. I mean, if you were going, I don't think of you though. This is kind of going back to the height thing last week. I don't think of you as like a hairy person.
Yeah.
But, it's there. But I don't think you're like excessively hairy or anything. I think you're just right.
Average.
Average.
Great. Okay. One more related question.
Okay.
We've never talked about this either. I switched to boxer briefs about 8 months ago. Never thought I would until some buddies of mine shamed me that I still wore boxers. And I was like, well, what do you wear?
Well, this is getting into a whole other
Okay,
thing.
we don't have to get too much into it. I just want to see where you're at. Are you okay that I wear boxer briefs now?
Yes. In fact, so I never thought I would be here because I was always like, briefs look, I don't like the look of briefs on a man. No offense to any brief wearers.
Mm-hmm.
Just for me, it's not like my ideal. And I grew up like with boxers and I'm like, boxers are the thing.
Yeah.
Now, boxers can backfire. My dad's penis fell out of his boxers one Christmas morning. I'm serious. And he was getting out of bed. I was there very early. I saw it and it has stayed with me.
Was he packing?
Okay. But I do think the briefs work.
Boxer briefs?
Boxer briefs. And I think that they're better for you.
Yeah.
They kind of hold things together more. I think you look good in them.
Okay.
I don't think I would want to go back to boxers, but I was the one who mentioned briefs probably like a year and a half ago.
Okay.
Because this is getting so personal.
For me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Your balls are like big and I'm worried that they're going to get like stretched out and, do your balls hang low? Do they wiggle to and thro? Can you tie them in a knot?
You don't have to worry about my balls, okay? My balls are fine.
And
So you wish I was wearing like a jock strap that was like
no,
really keeping
but
everything.
I think the briefs help. Just like a bra. Would you want me to go braless all the time, knowing that would send my boobs to my knees faster than it's going to happen
That's
anyway?
true. They would sink faster.
100%.
Again, though, then you have to weigh the pros and cons because then I'm watching you every day braless in your shirts and stuff and being like, oh,
Okay, let me take this back.
Okay.
This is going to be mean-spirited, but we are talking about what we would talk about if no one were listening, so I'm going to own that.
Yeah.
And I hope I'll be forgiven. In that doc, Mother Love,
Yeah.
God, Mother God,
Yeah.
is frequently not wearing a bra.
Yeah.
And her boobs, you can tell that she's not been wearing a bra.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Now, some people definitely can get away with that, and gravity is not going to act on it. And I don't mean to say get away with. Do whatever the fuck anyone wants. She should do what she wants.
She's God for...
She is God.
Yeah, she's God, for Christ's sake.
For Christ's sake. But that's not a look I want on me.
Okay.
And that's the look I think that I would get with these Fs.
Okay.
Falling to G-force gravity. So, yeah. That's all.
Great.
Boxer briefs, great. I'm for them.
Okay, good. Okay.
Oh, real fast, and this is just me fishing.
Yeah.
How is Thanksgiving?
Oh my God. I'm glad you brought up. For one reason, I feel like our Thanksgiving episode, if you will, last week, it wasn't like the most grateful episode. Do you know what I mean? We were talking about cults and stuff a lot and whatnot. Yeah. So, number one, I want to say I'm really grateful for our listeners.
Oh, I thought you were going to say for me. The way you just looked at me, I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, me too.
Two, let's get into you and how grateful I am for you. I'm so grateful for you. And I'm sorry you even had to fish. You made a hell of a Thanksgiving dinner.
Thank you. And I am really proud of myself because I am generally kind of a lazy piece of shit. And my sister, we've talked about this, maybe more on Patreon episodes, but like my sister is an in control person. And you feel safe with her. I think what you said on a Patreon episode is if we were on a desert island, no offense to me,
Yeah.
but if Anna Marie is like, here's what we're doing, we're following what Anna Marie is saying.
I agree with that.
She knows her shit.
Yeah.
And she cooks us Thanksgiving dinner.
Yep.
We might bring a side or something sometimes, but she's got it down.
Yeah.
And I don't need to contribute because I'm not really that good usually. But this time, because they were going out of town and we were going up to our cabin, I did the whole dang thing.
Oh, yeah.
Minus the turkey, which I know now I realize I think is the kind of bigger headache of Thanksgiving dinner.
Sure. Absolutely.
It wasn't that hard. I prepped the day before. Now I made a vegetarian stuffing that was killer.
People are going to probably want that. We'll have to maybe
Search the best vegetarian stuffing, and it's on Epicurious. It's called the best vegetarian stuffing. Now, it's going to get complicated.
Mm-hmm.
The recipe you'll see that's posted there has like mushrooms and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Scroll down to the comments, and the first comment's like, why did they change this recipe? It used to be something different without mushrooms. And then someone posts the old recipe.
Wow.
That's the one I'm using.
Deep cut. Holy shit.
So I did that. I did green beans, like just steamed with butter and almonds.
Nothing special. Oh, sorry. I meant the preparation.
Okay.
Easy peasy is what I should have
Easy
said.
peasy. Homemade biscuits, which I love, which I made the day before.
Great.
Reheat, great. Mashed potatoes, classic. Roasted Brussels sprouts, delish. And a mac and cheese I got from Smitten Kitchen.
Yeah.
Was that it? And then jarred cranberry sauce, which I love.
Yeah.
That was it, right?
That was it. And then I made some
so good
country ham that I fried outside a day before out of respect to not get the kitchen all country ham smelling.
I really appreciate that.
And I forgot the skillet and left it on the grill for 5 days. And
Andy.
Yeah, but guess what? I've been so good with that cast iron pan and seasoning it, I was able to bring it right back to life. I was really worried when I saw it.
When did you realize?
Yesterday.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I was hiding it from
Well,
you.
honestly, it's better that you realized yesterday than having realized while we were up there and going like, oh my God, my baby.
My baby.
Baby's out there. I want to ask you on the ham note. I really appreciate when you cook bacon or ham outside. And I know this sounds like I'm being hyperbolic, and I probably am, but I'm like, it makes me feel sick. There's something about that smell in the house and whatever. This is going to be not an accusing question at all. I'm just curious.
Yeah.
So last night we made pizzas. And you put bacon on your pizza.
Yeah.
And you had like cooked that bacon.
Earlier in the day.
It's
in the fridge.
And at the time of us like setting the table, you were swept away with some stuff going on.
Yeah.
That needed to be tended to.
Okay.
And I came in and our daughter was cutting her little personal pizza. And then I started cutting my personal pizza.
Yeah.
And then I realized, like, as we sat down, your pizza had already been cut. Had you used the pizza cutter that on your pizza?
Yes.
Okay. So this is going to sound...
I hear you. Let's cut the vegetarians first and then cut the meat pizza with the pizza cutter.
Well, yes, but I know I sound like a monster right now, but you were so respectful of not cross-contaminating,
I do my best.
When we have like spaghetti sauce where it has meat in it or not meat, there are 2 spoons. We're very careful.
Yeah.
I think this was like the first time in 20 years of us being together.
That I blatantly, it wasn't blatant.
It wasn't blatant. You were understandably, there was something going on that you needed to deal with.
If this makes you feel any better, then we sat down at a meal yesterday and I accidentally took your fork.
Yes.
I really was before I gave you my fork, I thought, okay, is this fork surely clean? And also, have I touched bacon with this hand or anything that would have then touched the fork on the handle. I am very mindful of it. Oh, wait, that reminded me of something.
Well, we all survived. I ate my pizza. It was cut with a bacon cutter, and it was fine.
We went to Jersey Mike's. I took the kids the other day, and like Teddy had a great veggie sandwich.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, Elizabeth would like that. But I didn't clock in enough on the cross-contamination there. And I don't know if a place like Jersey Mike's you can get out alive.
Well,
I just don't know. I don't think you should roll that dice.
well, let me tell you something.
Yeah.
And I don't want this to like shade any part of how you operate with me. Because again, I really appreciate it. How careful you are. I like...
You have to turn a blind eye sometimes.
Like Millie's. I don't know. I mean, I've never
that's in a kitchen. You don't know what's going on. In Jersey Mike's, you would see it.
I know, you see it. And so, for example, when we go to Chipotle...
Yeah.
And it's so stupid because there are 45 people in front of me.
Yeah.
I always do my order first, though, because I'm like, I don't want the spoon going in the barbacoa, getting mixed up. I'm sure it already has.
Right.
And recently I found there was meat in my salad where I'm like,
yeah.
It happens.
Yeah.
We all survive. But I do turn a blind eye, and I choose to frequently.
But at Jersey Mike's, I don't know if you know about Mike's Way, but if you order something Mike's Way, they got all the oils and stuff on top of the veggies. It just seems like that gets very, I don't know.
And it's really establishment by establishment.
Yeah, so you can handle Chipotle. That's a great example.
I'm not like jonesing for Jersey Mike's, I'll be honest.
I know you're not.
But okay, for example, the best sandwich place, I don't even think is still there anymore.
In Brooklyn?
City Sub.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Now, they have those, deli slicing machines for the meat and cheeses and stuff.
Yeah. But a dedicated cheese one.
They had a dedicated cheese one.
Yeah. They were very mindful.
And that makes me sad that doesn't exist for that reason. And also because their subs were the best there was.
I didn't ever really love them because of the bread. I wasn't into that type of bread.
Oh, the sesame bread is so good.
Yeah.
Okay. Well.
Okay.
Good night.
Good night. Shh.